Since there seems to be a lot of apprehension about using scatter and the EOS toolkit.io tools, I wanted to create a short video that will hopefully dispel some of the fears, as well as guide new users of EOS who have a Genesis account how to get set up, secure their account keys, vote, and securely use their accounts to transact. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that you have two things. First, Google Chrome browser installed on your computer. Second, I'm going to assume that you have a Genesis EOS public and private key pair and a username. Mine, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to use a created account like this, and yours will look something more like this. These can be either on a piece of paper or a text file on a flash drive. Hopefully you're not storing them on a file on your computer. This video should take about 20 to 30 minutes. Please feel free to pause the video as needed or to fast forward and rewind to accomplish the task. Just an FYI, I'm not a crypto expert, I'm not a programmer or a dev. I'm just an ordinary person who loves learning about EOS. I'm excited about EOS and I wanted to give something back to the community. I've also never used Camtasia before, so this is kind of a learning experience for me too. Hopefully I don't make too many mistakes and drag the video out or cause a bunch of editing needs. So to get started, we're going to use some links that I've gathered here. First one being the get-scatter.com. So I'm going to paste that here in the URL bar, and that should take us to the Scatter homepage where you can download the Chrome extension or now the desktop, which is in beta. We'll redo this video after the desktop version is out of beta and is working properly and everything's been tested. But for now, I want to just show people how they can get started right now using the extension. So if you highlight over the extension, you'll see in the bottom corner there a little ID that kind of quickly flashes up and then goes away in the lower left corner. That ID is the official ID of that scatter, and I've saved that into the text file here so you can see it. It's POLHGCKPCAM we can copy this and use that to do the search for scatter, but when we go to this link right here, we're securely going through a secure site of Scatter's own page linking to the Chrome download extension, which is going to take us to the web store. So we can either type in, well, we don't have to type in anything. We can just add this to Chrome. So we're just going to click on this add to Chrome. This is going to tell us that, you know, it's going to read and change all your data on websites you visit. It can. So we'll say add the extension, and we should see it pop up here in the right corner. So there it is. Now Scatter's been added to Chrome. So we can close this. We don't need this to be open anymore. Now I just want to show you how we can check that version of Scatter that we've installed is actually the right ID. So I'm going up here in the URL bar and I'm taking away apps and I'm putting in extensions. By doing this, it's going to bring up all the extensions that I have installed on this Chrome browser. Now you can see there's a little developer mode clicked up here. If I close this developer mode, that ID doesn't show, but if I turn the developer mode on, that ID shows, and you can see that this is exactly the same ID number as what I copied into my file here. So we know that we've installed the right version of Scatter. We're all good there. We don't need that anymore. So we can now go to Scatter and create a new password. And we'll need to confirm that password. Now you'll want to write that down and secure it. preferably offline. So we'll say create new scatter. This is going to create an account. And it's going to give us a mnemonic. This mnemonic is basically a backup or an alternate password. This is not the mnemonic to your private keys. This is just for your password. So I'm going to copy that, and we'll go ahead and paste that down here in the text file we've created. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and we have our password created in our password backup. So now we are actually in Scatter, and widen that out a little bit so you can see. You have two choices here, start basic setup or skip basic setup. For this video, we're going to go ahead and skip the basic setup. Now, this is us in Scatter. We're logged into Scatter. If I hit the lock, that just logs us out, and then we have to type our password back in. And click on log. So these are the four menu items you're going to see when you're in Scatter logged in, and then you also have the little gear up in the right hand corner giving you your different settings, things that you can go do. You can back your Scatter up once you've got everything set up right. You can change your password, turn on auto lock, change the languages and the network settings, and you can also destroy Scatter to just completely destroy it from your computer. We're not going to cover any of those in this video. What we are going to do is work with the key pairs and the identities. We're going to import keys and create key pairs, and we're going to create identities. So to do this, we're going to need to have our Genesis private key. So I'm going to pause this video for just a second. I'm going to copy my private key. You would be copying your Genesis private key. And for these purposes, we're going to want to have our computer offline. So I'm going to disconnect my computer from the internet, and I'm going to copy this key. Pause this and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have my private key copied, and I'm going to go to Scatter. I'm going to go to the key pairs. I'm going to click on New. We're going to create a new key, and I'm going to paste in my private key. That's going to populate my public key, which I'm going to verify is indeed my public key, and I'm going to give this a name, and for this case I'm going to call this original key. I guess if I could spell that. Okay, so and now I don't need to copy this, I just need to save it. So I've created this, I've imported my private key, it's generated the public key. I've verified that this public key is indeed the public key that I have written down. I've typed in original key here, and I'm going to save. Now I have a key pair imported into Scatter. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back to the new, and I'm going to generate a key pair. So now what we're doing is we're going to generate two sets of key pairs. When I click the generate key pair button, it is generating an EOS key pair. So I'm going to copy this one, and now I'm going to go back over to my text document editor, and I'm going to paste it right here. Now I'm going to organize these for just a moment. I'm going to cut that private key, and I'm going to call this the new owner key. Going to the end there, and I'm going to paste that private key I just cut. And I'm going to set myself up for the next one. I'm going to go back to Scatter, go to key pairs, go to new, go to generate, and I'm going to put the name in there. Now I'm going to copy this as well. Correct my spelling. I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to save it. Now this is going to do is it's going to create a second key pair that's going to have your Genesis name on it. This will be used later. Then I'm going to go back to my text document and I'm going to paste what I copied. Now for organizational purposes again, I'm going to cut this. And then I'm going to paste it here. So now what I've done is I've generated two random key pairs, both public and private. I've labeled one as the owner and one as the active. So at this point, I'm going to want to take all of this information right here, and I'm going to want to print that. So I have a paper copy of it, and I'm going to want to save it to file. So I'm going to pause the video for just a second and save this file, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, as you can see, I've asterisked out the private keys. The public keys have changed. I'm not going to use the keys that we just pasted in here by generating, because then anybody watching this video would have access to my private keys. So I saved this file, and I'm assuming that you've done the same thing. You've saved the file, you've printed it out. So now we need to go back to scatter. Well, first let's say you're going to want to copy these private keys and delete them or asterisk them out. It doesn't really matter which, but you want to delete all three of these private keys. Then save this file, then close the file. Well, let's do one more step. Let's randomly copy something and paste it to make sure that that's what's in our clipboard. It is. Save this file, close it, and go back and reopen it. So now we have this file and the private keys are no longer in it. We're still offline on our computer. Now we can put our computer back online since we have nothing online concerning our private keys. Our clipboard's been cleared. So I'm going to go back online, I'll pause the video, and as soon as I'm back online, I'll come back. Okay, so now my computer is back online, and I'm going to go to scatter. I'm going to go to identities, and this identity right here we won't need, so we can just click this red box right here, and that will delete it. So now we don't have any identities in here, so we're going to click New. And we have two drop-down boxes here to fill out. The first one is only giving us two choices, EOS mainnet and Ether mainnet. We want to be the EOS mainnet. In the second box, we should see the two key pairs that we created. So now we're going to use the original key in this case, because we need to use the original key to change the keys to the new keys. So we're going to click Import here. Now that went online and found our keys, and you're going to see two keys. You're going to see the name at active and the name at owner. This is another account that was created that also uses this key. Ignore that one. We want the account name that matches your username here at owner. So highlight that one. Say use selected account. And now we need to save it. So up here in the right hand corner we need to click save. So now we have this random identity, random royalty, and it's the username, your username, in my case EOS proxy for you, at owner. At owner. This is important because only the owner keys can change the keys. So now we've basically set up everything we need to set up with scatter. It's set up, it's running, it's working. We can sign transactions with it. We should have two key pairs at this point, and we should have one identity. The identity should be your username @owner. The key pair should be the original key pair and your username key pair. So with that done, I want to go to the next link in my list, which is the EOS toolkit.io. I'm going to paste that in the URL. And now we're at the EOS toolkit.io. So we're going to drop the box down here at the attach accounts and say connect an account. We only have one identity, so we will select that identity, and this should be the username @owner. Say accept, and now we should see it here. Now you can see that you're logged into the EOS Toolkit.io at your username @owner. So the next step we're going to want to take is going to be in the Manage Accounts section right here, Manage Accounts. So drop that down, that box down, and scroll down till you see, well, until you see Manage Permissions. So we're going to click on Manage Permissions. Okay, so here's where we're going to paste the two keys that we saved in our file here, the active and the owner. So copy the active one. It goes in the first box. I'm going to paste that. I'm going to go back to my document. I'm going to copy the new owner public key. I'm going to paste that. And I'm going to click update. Now, one more thing is the recording contract will always be here. This is what you are actually agreeing to by making this transaction, by clicking this button. You are agreeing to these terms. So you might take a moment just to look over those. But what we're doing is just changing this account name. We're changing the public key pair and the private key pair to be these new keys. So I'm going to say update. Scatter's going to load up here in a second. And there it is. Normally it's not that slow, but here's the two authorizations to change the keys. Here's the account that we're using is account @owner, and we're going to say accept. So that happened. It changed the keys. So we can close that screen. And now to see the change that we just made, we're going to go back up here to Find Accounts. And we're going to type in our username. Select Search. And down here at the bottom you'll see here's your account. Here's the details about your account. And if we click on this Show JSON right here, we'll see that the keys we just changed to are now different keys. We now have a different owner from an active. You see that they're not the same numbers. I want to show you one more thing. We're going to go to the EOSFlare.com. And here again we're going to type in our account name. We hit go. And this is your account. This is the details of your account. And here we can see that we updated the authorizations right here. We updated the authorizations. So two transactions show up in there. That's so that you can see that happened. So now we're going to sign out of here. We don't need to be in here anymore. and we're going to go back to scatter. And now we can go to the key pairs, and since we're done using this original key, we can delete it. And that leaves us with our username at active. We can go to identities, and we no longer need this one either. That key is no longer valid, so we're going to delete that. So we don't have an identity now, so we need to create one, clicking the new button. This time we're going to use the EOS mainnet, and we should only have one here. It should be your Genesis username. Select that. We click import, and it brings up two possibilities, owner and active. This time, how we would normally do this, and we would choose the active. The owner is like your master password. It can change the keys to your owner and active, but the active can't change the owner keys. The owner can change the active keys, but the active can't change the owner keys. So we've saved our owner keys offline, and if we ever need them, should somebody hack our active keys and we notice it, we can use our owner key to create a key, put the keys in here and create a key set, then create an identity like this using the owner, then log in and do what we just did and change the permissions, and we would lock the hacker out of our account. So this time we're going to use active, because that's what we're going to use for our everyday transactions, is our active key. So use the selected account. We're going to save it. And now we have an identity that is our username at active. So now at this point we should have one key pair, your username, and one identity, your username at active. And you're securely set up on Scatter to sign transactions. So if you go back into the EOS toolkit and you say connect an account, when Scatter pops up, the only choice it's going to give you is the username at active. You would select that and say accept. So now what I want to do is go to another site, and this is where we'll vote. So going to my tools here, my list of links, I want to collect that one right there. And that's the EOS portal. EOS portal is a voting tool, so we're going to paste that in here. And like the EOS toolkit, how you connected using your scatter, you'll do the same thing here. You'll pair it to scatter. So you click pair scatter, and again, you only have one identity, so you're using that identity. You select that identity. You could have multiple identities with multiple key pairs. You would say accept, and now you're logged into the portal. If you want to log out, you just click this button. Logged in, this is going to show you who you're voting for. This is how you vote. So currently I have 23 BPs selected that I'm voting for in 11 countries. So one of the BPs that I've wanted to add is EOS Dublin. So let's see if I've got them in here. Here they are. So to vote for them, we're going to click on this button, and when I click this, it turns blue, and you see this went from 23 to 24, and we're in 12 countries. So if I take that out, it's 20. We're currently voting for 23 BPs in 11 countries. By adding this EOS Dublin, I'm going to 24 BPs in 12 different countries. EOS, the Generos, is the ones that created this toolkit here. Also a great BP. You can go look through all these and you can see what we vote for at any given time. I just want to show you how the voting works. So you just go down the list and you click the ones that you want to vote for, and then you say vote for selected producers, 24 of 30, because I can vote for up to 30. I just haven't discovered 30 yet that I feel comfortable knowing about. So I click my vote here. It brings up scatter. It wants to do a vote producer transaction using my account at active, and I say accept. And voting was successful. Now to see that vote, we can go right here to the EOS proxy that I'm already in EOS flare.io and I'm in my name, or I could just type my name right here. I'm just going to refresh this page. And there's the new vote right there. So we changed our permissions and then we voted. So now that you've secured your account and you've voted, you understand how to use scatter. Now you have access to a whole bunch of various tools. This is one great, this is a huge set of tools we'll explore in a minute. This is a great voting portal created by EOS portal team. One more here is the EOS Sphere .io. These are also block producers, EOS Sphere, and they've created a voting portal that's very similar. You would just click on vote. It would bring up scatter. You would select the identity. You would say accept, and it will put your username right here. And it shows that, you know, this username is a proxy. And then you would just go down and click the ones you want and unclick the ones you don't want and say cast your vote. So very, very similar, great tools. If one's not working, you can always use the other one. But that's the basics. That's how to set up your account, secure your keys, change your permissions, and vote. We did that in about 30 minutes. So in this next section, if you want to stay with us here, I want to cover some of the basics of the tools that are in the EOS toolkit so that you can realize how you can do various different features. So starting out here in the Find Accounts, this is where you would go if you want to create a unique 12-letter name like we did here with the EOS proxy for you. You would type that name in here. If the name is taken, it'll show up down here. If the name is not taken, it will not show up down there. So let's try and create an account. Let's see if that one's taken. Okay, so nothing showed up down there, meaning this name's not taken. Grateful Soul is not taken. Let's try this one. I'm a big fan of gratitude. So, grateful for you. Let's see if that's available. Okay, so that account's available too. So to create the account, we would go to create the account. And since this is us, we're logged in as us. We would type in that name. And then we'll have to have another set of key pairs. So I'm going to pause this video and take my computer offline to generate another set of key pairs and save them. Okay, so I went offline. I created 2 key pairs, but just so you know how to do it one more time here, I'm going to show you. You just go to Scatter, click Key Pairs, say New, Generate, Copy, go over to your text document, and you would paste that right here, and it would show both your keys, and you would label the first set owner. So then you would go back to Scatter, Key Pairs, New, and this time you would type in the name, generate another key pair, click copy, click save, and it would look like this. You would paste that second key pair here and label it active. Then you would save this offline, print it, save it to your file, and then delete the private keys, clear your clipboard, save this file, and then go back online. So now that you're caught up without seeing my private keys, I'm going to create this account using the account that would basically be the same as your Genesis account. So I go back to here to this create account, and you can see that I'm here. I put in the name that we've looked up and it's available here. So I need to put the key pairs here. And the owner key goes here and the active key goes here. So let's start with the owner key. And these are your public keys now that you're putting in here. So copy that. Paste it. Active key goes here. So we go back here. Copy the active key. We paste it. And in this case, I'm going to use 0.05. 0.05. I'm going to delegate CPU and stake in the amount of 0.05 each. I'm going to create the account with roughly 4 kilobytes of memory. And again, if you remember this button here, if I leave this like this, this account retains ownership of this and this. This is spent for RAM. It's gone. It goes with the new account. It's necessary to hold the account name in the network. This and this is what you're deciding whether you want to transfer or not. In this case, I'm going to transfer it. And I'll tell you why I'm doing that shortly. So I'm going to hit create. It's going to say sending, and it'll pop up my scatter screen. Now it's wanted to do these different functions: create a new account, buy the RAM to create the account with, and delegate the EOS to the new account. I'm creating it with this EOS proxy for U account at active. So I say accept. Okay, so there's the account created. We can go to the EOS Flare and see that the account was created. And it would be these 5 transactions. So Grateful for You was created. We bought RAM, 4,000 kilobytes, 4,000 bytes, 4 kilobytes. We paid 1.28 EOS for that, with a fee of about 0.0065. And we delegated 0.05 to net and 0.05 EOS for CPU. So that account was created, and we can see it by going here. Typing in the name, and there's the account. And now you can see that this account has no unstaked tokens, and it has 0.1 EOS. 0.1 is all staked because we transferred or delegated the ownership, as well as we delegated the CPU and bandwidth at 0.05, 0.05, but we transferred ownership at the same time by clicking that switch here to be on. So that's creating an account. That's all that's involved in creating an account. So now we can use the transfer tokens feature, and this is just like any other wallet essentially, where you send tokens. So the EOS proxy for you or your name would be here. let's transfer some tokens to Grateful for You. And let's transfer 0.1. We'll leave a little message with that, and we'll send the tokens. Scatter's right there. So we're going to transfer tokens from this account to this account, 0.1 EOS, with a little message. Now it's successfully sent. There's the transaction ID. We go back to that account. Here's the account. I'm just going to refresh the page. And now we can see that it has a 0.1 unstaked and 0.1 staked. 4 kilobytes of memory. Half of the staked is in CPU, half of the staked is in bandwidth. And there's the transaction along with our little memo. So that's transferring tokens. And now if you go into the manage accounts, you'll have delegate and undelegate. These would be staking and unstaking. So now we could delegate some tokens to, let's do this again. We'll delegate another 0.05 to both stake and net, and we're going to transfer these as well. So I'm going to transfer ownership from here to here by sending this transaction. So I'm going to hit delegate, wait for the scatter window to pop up. There's the scatter window. There's the function we're trying to accomplish from this account, 0.05 into CPU, 0.05 into bandwidth to this account from this account. Say accept. Success. So now we should be able to go to that same account and see the numbers go from here from 0.05 and 0.05 to 0.1. So we'll refresh this page. And now you can see that there's 0.1 here, 0.1 here, and the account has a total of 0.2 staked and 0.1 unstaked. Unstaking or undelegating is essentially the same thing in reverse. What you want to be aware of is that you can be both the stakeholder and the stake receiver. So you can be in both spots here in both delegate and undelegate. So if you want to undelegate or unstake, you would have to have already delegated tokens to an account that you retained ownership of, and you could undelegate them. Or you could undelegate or unstake tokens within your own account, which you would just put in your own account name. And let's go take a look at that account. I'm in the EOS Flare.io. So right now I have 1.04 staked, and they are staked accordingly. So if I was to unstake them, they would move over into the refund. So we transferred and delegated to this account. There's that transaction. We sent tokens to that account. There's that transaction. So now let's go back to the tool and let's unstake. We'll take an even amount. So we hit on delegate, wait for scatter to pop up. Scatter pops up, we're undelegating 0.2 net and CPU from this account to this account, and we're logged in with this account at active. So we hit accept. We have success. So now we can go back to here, we can refresh the EOS proxy for you at the eosflare.io account. And we can see that the 0.4 moved over into here in the refund. Now that'll sit here for 3 days before it either automatically moves to here, or we have to go and use the refund function. And you'll see the refund function down here. If you click on the refund function, all you would do is after 3 days, if that still hasn't, say on the 4th day, that amount of undelegated funds hasn't moved over into the unstaked, you would just go here to the EOS tool click and click refund. So I've covered everything pretty much except buy RAM and sell RAM. They're pretty self-explanatory now that you know how to use the tools. The purchase can be done either in EOS or in bytes. So you can either determine how many bytes you want to buy or how much EOS worth of RAM you want to buy. This will be who's paying for the RAM. You can send it to a different account, or you can send it to your own account. So if you're sending it to your own account, you're just buying RAM for yourself, you would just put your name here and here. Selling RAM is even simpler in that whoever bought the RAM is the only one that can receive it. So you would put your name here, how much you want to sell, click sell, wait for scatter to come up, click the accept, and that's pretty much it. The refund button is for when you've unstaked tokens and they've sat here for more than 3 days and they haven't automatically moved to here. Then you would just go to here in the refund button and you would click refund. So that's pretty much most of the tools. The only ones we haven't covered is the becoming a proxy. This is you just set up the account you want to become a proxy, and setting on becoming a proxy is by clicking the switch and hit create. To set the proxy that you want to vote for you, your name is here, you put the proxy you want to vote for you here and click create. There's many good tools you can use to decide who you want to be your proxy. You can change this on a regular basis. One thing that you should note is that you will have to refresh this every week or so. So here's a good tool from the Aloha team, and you can go down here and look at the proxies. So like EOS Watchdogs, you can click on that, see who they're voting for. If you're not happy with what they're voting for, you could choose a different proxy, say Truth Seekers. Maybe they're voting more to your liking, and you can change them back and forth over and over every day if you wish, even more. Here's what we're voting for currently, 24 different BPs on our vote list. So you can pop through this. This is a great tool to look at different proxies. You can see that the big ones here are all Bitfinex. They're basically controlling who gets into the top 21 position. Last thing on the toolkit that I wanted to talk about was just the air grabs. Generos has created a tool now for token creators. They can do an air grab instead of an air drop, meaning that you would have to actually go and click on these. Click on both of these. It's very cheap. It's going to cost you a couple of bytes of RAM to get these tokens. This is the poor man token that kind of set the whole thing off. The riddle tokens are going to be for Scatter's reputation system. They're going to be a utility token that your reputation can kind of move with you from platform to platform. There's a lot to look at there. I'd go grab those. It cost you just a couple of bytes of RAM. So there's lots of tools that you can look at and play with now that you have this all set up, and you can log in and out of your scatter. You can log in and out of these pages like so. Connect your account, just connect the scatter account that you want to connect to, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So I hope this helped, and if it did, participate in the EOS ecosystem, stake your tokens and vote. And if you're not sure who to vote for, use the proxies while you learn, and that's a great way to know that you're voting for a good mix of BPs. A lot of people just go to the voter list and vote for the top 21, but then you're getting BPs like this, the EOS cleaner, who nobody even knows who they really are. They're somewhere in Hong Kong, China. So, do you want them to be representing you? I don't know. I don't even know who they are, but they're there because, well, let me show you this tool. The last one on the list, I think, was this right here. This is a tool created by EOS Titan. It shows you a graphical representation of the votes. Right now it's set, as you can see, 1 through 40. If I want to see who just the top 21 are, let's just change this. We can go up here to the URL bar, back off that 40 and put 21 in there, and that'll show you the top 21. So now you can see the EOS cleaner. Scroll this down a little bit. You can see that EOS cleaner, this vote right here is Bitfinex. So without the Bitfinex vote, this BP would not be in the top 21. Without this Bitfinex vote, Jetta would not be in the top 21. Two more here, Liberty Block and Hello EOS. These would not be in the top 21. Bitfinex themselves is pretty dependent upon their own vote to stay in the top 21. So you can see the effect they're having. They're also doing some good things. They're adding a huge vote to EOS New York and EOS Canada, which are both great BPs. EOS 42 has helped a lot with people who've lost their tokens to scams. They've done a lot of things for a lot of good people, so they're also helping good BPs be in the list too. It's just good to be informed on who's voting for what and how these 21 are getting into their positions based on whose vote. So there's some good tools for you. Hope this helps, and have fun. So the account that I created, the Grateful for You, what I want to do with this account is give this to somebody who has done something to make you grateful. So if you have somebody that you'd like to nominate this account to go to, send me a little write-up on why you're grateful for this person, what they've done for you. Let's keep it to somebody that's maybe wouldn't otherwise have an EOS account if they didn't get this, and it's ready to go. It's got the memory, and it's got some staked CPU and bandwidth. It's even got some staked tokens and unstaked tokens. Not a lot, but it's a free account. So let me know who you're grateful for, and we'll give them a gift that lets them know that we're grateful for you. Thanks.